We're back for our daily NBA predictions and best bets here for the final day of the NBA play-in tournament here on Friday, April 18th. 2 games today with 2 winners going to the postseason and 2 losers having their season ended, right? We've already seen the Chicago Bulls and the Sacramento Kings eliminated this year. Now we get Heat and Hawks and Grizzlies and Mavericks to determine who will be the 8 seeds in both the West and Eastern Conference. Now, before we get into the video, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA predictions and best bets starting today. Daily predictions pretty much through the entire first round because the NBA is going every single day, so make sure to join us for that. And also, earlier today, we posted our MLB best bets that we're doing all year long, again, with Major League Baseball. Today is PFL, the World Tournament, the 3rd event of the year. In the main event, Impa Kasanganay takes on Fabian Edwards. Go check that out in the link down below on Greedo Plays MMA. Go subscribe over there as well. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers over there, and we're on the road to that. So make sure to subscribe over there, subscribe to this channel as well. As we go to the first of our 2 games today, we start in Atlanta, Georgia, with the Atlanta Hawks and the Miami Heat, right? The Hawks coming off a loss against the Orlando Magic in Orlando. Wasn't a great game for the Hawks. They stormed back in the 3rd quarter, really the second half of the 2nd quarter and the 3rd quarter. The Hawks got right back into that game, cut the lead to 3 at one point, and if Trae Young didn't make a silly pass to, I think it was Craigie, could have easily been a 1-point game. I mean, it really could have been, and the Hawks, after they failed to cut it to 1, could never really get back in that game. George Niang hits the shot at the end of the 3rd quarter to make it, a 6.5-point lead for Orlando, but ultimately the Magic easily won the game, 120-95. Obviously, the biggest story coming out that game is not the Magic winning, it's Trae Young. After going in between the legs on an Orlando defender, Trae lays it in, throws the ball at the referee, ends up getting 2 technicals after he refuses to give the ball back late, like 20 seconds later. I'm sure you've seen it. Anyways, Trae gets 2 Ts. He gets, ejected from the basketball game. Trae is not suspended, though, for this game, so that really doesn't mean anything. And that's just going to end up on a compilation of superstars getting ejected. This does have the potential to be Trae Young's final game as a member of the Atlanta Hawks. I think there's a lot of speculation about him being traded in the offseason, and I certainly see that. I mean, there's been talk about him going to Miami or Orlando, the 2 Florida teams, and we'll see if that happens. But for now, obviously, right, Trae's still trying to get his team to the postseason. The Heat have not lost to the Hawks this season without Jimmy Butler. In the games where they haven't played the Hawks without Jimmy, they've won the final 2. I believe Jimmy was on the team on the 24th, so they're 1-2 against the Hawks. They have won their last 2 games against Atlanta, both in Miami, of course. But in Atlanta itself, the Hawks are 2-0 against the Heat. Jimmy played in one of those games, the first one, obviously the second game. Butler was already on the Golden State Warriors, or he was suspended then. But regardless, they're 2-2 in the season. You look at the last 2 games, though, both won by Miami at home. I'm still not sold on the Heat. I understand they looked really good in that game over the Chicago Bulls, and again, that was a game I fully expected Chicago to win. Kobe White couldn't hit a shot to save his life. And just what it is what it is. I mean, Josh Giddey puts up 25 and 10, and this team still loses. It is what it is. I mean, Tyler Hero had an amazing night. Hero could not miss through the first, 2.5 quarters of that basketball game. He goes 13 for 19 from the field. Hero with 38 points in that game. Andrew Wiggins was pretty good as well. But yes, Tyler Hero had a night. Duncan Robinson hit some big shots in the first quarter. Davion Mitchell went 5 for 5 from the field with 15 points and 9 assists over 33 minutes. He was great. 3 big 3-pointers for Miami was from Davion Mitchell. I think the Hawks, though, are going to beat them in this spot. I know this is a traditional NBA play-in round game. Obviously, we see the Hawks, Bulls, and the Heat in this spot every single season. And there's usually just the random 4th team, like the Magic or like the Hornets in past years or the 76ers last year. I think the Hawks are going to advance to the playoffs. I think in a must-win game at home, I don't think Trae Young lets his team lose. We know how good Trae is, and Trae had a god-awful shooting night in Orlando, and yet the Hawks still almost came back and, made it a game in the 3rd and the 4th quarter. The Hawks played that badly, and they still had a chance. I think they're going to get the Heat tonight. Trae goes 1 for 5 from the 3-point line in that Orlando game. Zachary Sachet went 1 for 5 from the 3-point line. George Niang went 1 for 4. That's not going to happen again. I mean, Atlanta's not going to win any games shooting 4 for 21 from the 3-point line because ultimately that's all they do, and that's how they are at their best is with the 3-point ball. and they couldn't find a way to guard Cole Anthony and Anthony Black. Cole Anthony with just honestly a fake game. I mean, what are the odds he's going to do that ever again? Probably 0, I'll be honest. Cole Anthony, 10 for 17 from the field, 4 for 9 from the three-point line, plus 32 at 26 points. And Anthony Black went 6 for 7 from the field and 3 for 3 from the three-point line. That's just a weird game. I mean, again, if you were to say Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner were to score 30 points for the Orlando Magic in that play-in game, what would you think? Oh, the Hawks are probably going to get away with it. Well, no. Cole Anthony had 26, Anthony Black had 16, Wendell Carter Jr. had 19. Just an odd game. I expect Tyler Hero to have a decent night, but Dyson Daniels will be on him, a guy who's going to get snubbed of not just the Defensive Player of the Year this season, but also the Most Improved Player of the Year, which I find ridiculous. Regardless, though, it's a huge spot for Dyson Daniels tonight, and I think he delivers, right? I mean, he's going to have to deliver if the Hawks are going to win this basketball game, and at the same time, Atlanta is going to have to hit their shots, and I'm looking at Trae Young. Again, I'm not concerned. I don't think Trae Young's going to throw up back-to-back stinkers in the postseason. I think especially because he knows this could definitely be his last game in Atlanta, could definitely be his last game wearing that Atlanta Hawks jersey. I think Trae shows up. I firmly believe that. Again, we're not going to see another 1 for 5 night from the three-point line for Trae Young. He shot 12 free throws in that game against Orlando. Trae really should have shot 20 plus. Let's just be honest. I mean, some of the calls Banchero was getting, I understand, but I mean, Trae was not getting a great whistle in that game. He should have many more free throws than 12. So if he can actually get to the line more effectively than he did in the last game, and yes, shoot more than 12 free throws, that's going to be a big thing for Atlanta. If Young hits his shots, which I'm expecting him to do, and that matchup with Dyson Daniels and Tyler Hero is going to be absolutely massive in this basketball game. I mean, that's really going to decide a lot, right? If Dyson Daniels has a good night shutting down Tyler Hero, I just don't see a pathway for the Heat to win this basketball game. I don't. I mean, Bam Adebayo, we expect to be good. Didn't have a great night against the Bulls just because, he had a good game, but it wasn't, he wasn't the center of attention, obviously, because it was Tyler Hero, and Andrew Wiggins had a really good night as well. We're going to see. I mean, we saw Wendell Carter Jr. play fairly well against Onyeka Okongwu, the starting center of the Atlanta Hawks. So it's going to be a tough matchup for him as well, but I think this game is won and lost with that shooting guard matchup between Dyson Daniels and Tyler Hero. Also, again, I think Zachary Sachet is a big part of this team. I think he needs to hit his shots. Karis LeVert needs to hit his shots and not go 0 for 9 from the field. At least that's what it felt like. And George Niang needs to have more success from the three-point line as well. If Atlanta plays their game, they're going to win this one. If they're able to outrun Miami, which I'm expecting them to do, I think they will win this game. Again, the Miami Heat look good in the game in Chicago. They're not going to be able to outrun two high-paced and high-scoring offenses in back-to-back game. And also for the Hawks, too, they don't have to play this very difficult Orlando Magic defense, right? I mean, Orlando is one of the few teams in the league that you can actually rely on their defense to win games for them, right? I know they were a 500 team this season, but that's how Orlando excels, is with their defensive presence. That's what does make Orlando and Boston a little bit easy. I still think the Celtics probably sweep the Magic, maybe get them in 5. But that is a stylistic matchup for Boston that would have been much different from the other 3 teams in the play-in: Atlanta, Chicago, or Miami. Obviously, again, they would have only gotten Atlanta or Orlando, but that's just a different stylistic matchup. Regardless, I think this game is going to be a lot easier in the Hawks. They don't have that defense of Orlando. And I've even talked about a guy like Terrence Mann, who played 10 minutes that game, went 0 for 5 from the field. They just had a piss-poor shooting tonight. They shot 38%. I think the Hawks are going to be much better tonight, and I think they're going to beat the Miami Heat. I think there's only so far Tyler Hero can take them. And on top of that, again, we know how good Dyson Daniels is. I expect him to be locked down all night long. We're taking the Atlanta Hawks to win at home in Atlanta and beat the Miami Heat and extend the career at least a little bit longer for Trae Young wearing that Atlanta Hawks jersey. Let's go to our other play-in game tonight in the Western Conference. So we have the Hawks advancing to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the winner of the Mavericks and the Grizzlies will go on to take on the most valuable player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm taking the Dallas Mavericks outright. I don't mind the points. It's definitely the safer play. I'm going Dallas, though. I'm going Dallas to straight up win the basketball game. Again, I think they'll cover fairly easily. This game's going to go right down to the wire. I think there's a couple things that we can look at in this game between the Mavs and the Grizzlies, and I get it. Dallas is a team that's 4 games under 500. The Grizzlies were 14 games over 500. I completely understand that. But there's just 2 things we really need to look at in this game. Actually, 3 important factors in this game that's going to determine a winner tonight in Memphis, Tennessee. The first is Ja Morant, and it's the biggest factor, I personally think. Morant mispracticed yesterday on Thursday. He's a game-time decision for this game. Even if Ja plays, what percent is he? Ja, toughened it out at the end of that game against the Warriors. They showed him taking likely, Tylenol on the bench. The trainers rewrapping the ankle or whatnot, trying to get him back into that basketball game. And sure, Ja did give it his all. Morant tried, but he definitely wasn't close to it. I don't think he was close to 75%. I would say Ja was maybe around 50 if we're lucky for the final half of that game, final quarter of that basketball game. So Ja didn't practice yesterday. That's a huge, determining factor in this game. Yes, the Grizzlies got by earlier in the season without Ja, in the fall, and into the winter, the early winter as well. But they need Ja Morant in a game like this. The second factor in this game is Anthony Davis versus Zach Edey, right? Zach Edey will either be matched up against Edey, I need to correct myself, Edey or Derek Lively, and for that matter, Daniel Gadford as well. I think all of those bigs have Zach Edey in hell. I'm just going to be honest. If Zach Edey played a better game against the Warriors, the Grizzlies probably win. Just be honest. And we knew it was going to be kind of a tough matchup for Edey. We still had the Grizzlies, and they covered in that game in San Francisco. But we knew it was going to be a tough matchup for Zach Edey, especially with the high pick and roll the Warriors run. They're going to get the switch, and they're going to likely expose Zach Edey. Because, again, that's just not what Edey does. I think Edey's going to be a good player in this league for a long time, at least a serviceable center in this league for a long time. He's still a rookie. He's still coming off that year at Purdue last year, which again, he was the James Naismith Basketball Player of the Year years in a row for the Boilermakers. But regardless, it's professional basketball now. It's just a different sport, honestly, the NBA to college basketball, or college basketball to the NBA. And it's a way tougher matchup he's got tonight. Regardless if it's Lively or Davis, or even Gadford too. It's just going to be extremely difficult for Edey. Yes, he's going to grab rebounds. He can't score. You can send him to the line, sure, and he's not a horrible free throw shooter at all. But man, he is going to get out physically dominated down low by AD and by Lively. And I think they're going to attack Zach Edey as well. Sure, they might not attack him in the pick and roll because you're trying to, free up a Najee Marshall, rim run, which again, Marshall's a good basketball player. I think again, though, just the bigs of Dallas are so much better than Zach Edey. Okay. And the third main factor in this basketball game, I personally think is Klay Thompson, right? We touched on it some before their game in Sacramento the other day. We said Klay Thompson was going to need to have a huge night, right? He went 0 for 10 last year in the play-in when the Warriors took on the Sacramento Kings. He wrote all of those wrongs this year. 23 points on 5 of 7 shooting from the three-point line. He missed his first three, and I was like, oh, here we go again. Klay then goes out there and hits 5 of his next 3-pointers. Yeah, that's the type of game Klay Thompson needs to have for the Mavericks. Now, regardless, are the Mavericks or the Grizzlies probably going to stand a chance in the next round against the Thunder? Probably not. But this does mean something. The Mavericks and Nico Harrison are prepared for a long road trip. They packed for 8 days because they're expecting, obviously, Sacramento to Memphis, Memphis over to OKC for the weekend. That's why I'm taking the Mavericks, though. All those 3 factors. I think Klay's going to have a big night. I think AD, Lively, and Gafford are going to have their way with Zach Edey, who I think is a good rebounder, but's a liability defensively sometimes, and he's also an offensive liability as well. If you just put a hand in his face with AD, with Lively, I don't think it's ideal. And at the same time, yeah, they won't have Edey guard Davis offensively, or they won't have Edey on Davis when the Mavericks are obviously trying to score because, the shooting threats there with Davis. We saw that in the Sacramento game, the big time threes that Davis was able to make in that one. I mean, it was one of AD's better shooting nights as a member of the Mavericks. But still, if you get one switch, then oh crap, Edey's got to guard the perimeter. And I just don't think that goes all that well for Memphis. It was getting to a point where I was glad Edey was in foul trouble because I think this team was more dangerous when Jaren Jackson's at the 5 and when Santi Aldama's playing. Yeah, they're not as good defensively at times in terms of getting rebounds and sure in the low post. But it gives you another threat on offense. Edey is such a liability offensively. He can't make a contested layup. And I'm sure, again, that's going to fix itself. But Zach Edey is no longer playing at Purdue anymore against undersized centers, right? I'm trying to think, the only center in the Big Ten last year that he really dominated, and I won't even say it was domination, but he had a lot of success against, was the Miami Heat's own in Khalil Ware. But Khalil Ware at Indiana is a whole nother thing than Khalil Ware for the Miami Heat. He was not impressive last year at IU. Trust me, I watched every game he played. Regardless, He stopped shooting threes now, which is very good for Khalil Ware. Regardless, I think Zach Edey's a problem for the Grizzlies. And I think the other big factor in this game, yeah, Ja might play, and if he does, that's great. But at what percent is Ja Morant? Is Ja going to be anywhere near 100%? Definitely not. It's just a matter of if he's, at 75, 50, and can he play effectively. Also for the Mavericks, I really like what they got going, man. Najee Marshall acting kind of as their one. Sure. These guys can shoot. Marshall, PJ Washington, Clay. I mean, again, this lineup does not blow you away on paper. I completely understand, right? The starting lineup is Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, PJ Washington. You got a top 10 player in the game, Anthony Davis, and Derek Lively. I completely understand the lineup does not blow you away. But I think they have all the necessary tools to beat Memphis. And this is all going to come down to also if they can stop Desmond Bane, who should have taken so many more shots down the stretch in that play-in game against the Warriors. I don't know why they weren't going to Bane more often, because Bane was on fire. He had 38 points, if I'm not mistaken, in that game. That assignment's likely going to be up to either PJ Washington or Najee Marshall. I assume Najee Marshall, but maybe it's PJ Washington's job. That's fine. I think they're going to find a way to limit the damage that the Grizzlies are able to do. And if you take away Ja Morant, I understand. Scottie Pippen Jr. played a great game against the Warriors, at least defensively, because that's what he does. There's not really a, all-time great point guard to take away, though, on the Dallas Mavericks. Sure, you can put Pippen on Clay, and it's kind of the same assignment that he had against Curry. It's basically don't really play help defense, stay just on Steph, or this matter Clay, and don't let him get, easy shots up. And for the most part, until, it became clutch time and Steph Curry became Steph Curry, Scottie Pippen was really successful in doing that in the second half. First half, he had some troubles, but yeah, that's what Pippen's going to do for you. I don't think Memphis wins this spot. We had the Grizzlies to cover in their last game. We liked it in San Francisco. This time around, though, I'm going with Dallas. Again, you could take the conservative play and take Dallas on the points. They're getting 6.5 here on the road. But I think right now the value's too good to pass up on plus 200, especially with Ja Morant not playing. And don't let Morant playing fool you. If he does, okay, I still don't expect Ja to be close to 100%. I could see there's a world where Ja starts the game and then they're like, Morant's definitely not close to 100%. We're going to take him out because if we win this game, we definitely need him for the OKC series, because Memphis knows if they go into that Thunder series without Ja Morant, I mean, they're not even going to be trying to take a game off anymore. They're just going to be trying not to get blown out in every single game, right? Because let's just be honest, the rosters that we have right now before Dallas and Memphis, I mean, I understand the Mavericks in the last couple seasons have kind of owned OKC, but I'll just say that was Luka Doncic who owned OKC. So that's Thunder in 4. Grizz Thunder is likely Thunder in 4. If Ja plays, maybe they get a game, but I highly doubt it. So again, I think the Thunder get through both these teams. You don't need me to tell you that, but in this spot, yes, I'm going with the Dallas Mavericks on the road to beat the Memphis Grizzlies. No, this does not justify the Nico Harrison move to trade Luka Doncic to get Anthony Davis. I think Davis, again, is going to have a big factor in this game, and I think Davis is going to be needed big time tonight. He cannot do tonight what he did in that Lakers-Mavericks game in Dallas. He needs another night like he did the other day at the Golden One Center in Sacramento. I think we're going to get one of those nights out of Anthony Davis, let me make that very clear. But they need Davis to perform. And again, it comes down to those three main factors. I'll say them one more time. Ja, and if he plays and how he plays. AD, Lively, and Gadford versus Edey. That's an easy matchup for those guys. Klay Thompson. And another thing also, can Jaren Jackson actually hit the three-point shot? Because when he does, Jaren Jackson's a problem offensively, but when he doesn't and he's bricking a million threes a game like he was at least every time the Grizzlies needed one to get back into the game or take the lead against the Warriors, Jaren Jackson just couldn't find the bottom of the net. Those are the main factors in this game, and I think more factors than not side with Dallas. So we're taking the Dallas Mavericks here on the road in Memphis, Tennessee, and I don't know how pumped up the FedEx Forum is going to be for this one, guys. I'm just going to be honest. The Grizzlies, again, 48 wins this season, and now you're in a win-or-go-home spot against a team that was 4 games under 500. They have 39 wins. I just don't know how pumped up the fans are going to be for this one. You can get into the arena, I believe, for $7 tonight. Yeah, I'm taking the Dallas Mavericks on the road to shock a lot of people and beat the Grizzlies again. They were preparing for that road trip for over a week. Let's get it done. The Dallas Mavericks go on their little Cinderella run here, post Luka Doncic. only to get swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder. So folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA predictions and best bets here for April 17th. If you haven't yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for our NBA playoff predictions. Huge games tomorrow. Pacers, Bucks, Lakers, Timberwolves on the marquee. Make sure to join us for that tomorrow. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.